Well, good evening. Beautiful Tuesday evening. Thought I'd just take everybody for a stroll down Main Street of Lowell, Michigan. Get at least the downtown business district, central business district. Which we're going to start with the ice cream shop. Been in business for 51 years. Same family. Amazing. And I've got a person watching already. And according to what it says the Rumble I can't see any comments from Rumble. We are streaming on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, and my Facebook page. I like to go on these walks. I try to do every night if I can, especially depending on how much exercise or physical work I've done during the day. Today had very little, so I need to get in a little exercise somehow. Some days I do enough exercise for a whole week in a day, burn off more calories, sweat than one would normally care to. But today was not one of those days. Yesterday was not one of those days. Yesterday, didn't do any physical work all day, so I had to do a long walk. I thought I had to do a real long walk, but I got all the way as far as I thought I needed to go and turn around, and it barely turned around, and my app on my phone said that I had met my goals for the day. So I did twice as long of a walk as what I needed to meet my goals. Doesn't hurt me any. This here is a all-weather seal, do metal roofing, windows, that sort of stuff. They have a lot of clients. They're normally open later in the evening. I'd have to look and see what their hours are now. But normally, maybe it's just some days of the week. One thing we have is we have a lot of little specialty shops. We have arts and crafts stuff, and antique shops, that sort of stuff. For some reason, Lowell used to have a big antique mall, one of the large buildings downtown here. 2 or 3 floors of it was all antiques. This little Sweet Seasons Bakery and Cafe, it seems like that has changed its name a number of times over the past 10, 12 years. City Hall here was all renovated back in the day when I was involved with the Planning Commission, of which I sat on as the chair for probably longer than I really wanted to be. North Country Trails Association. This is their national headquarters. Since COVID and the shutdowns, they basically have not been anybody in here. They always have this little information drop box here, or information box for stuff that you would have gone inside for. So this storefront basically has been here for 2 years. There's nothing but an empty picture for people to see. But if you're into walking, that is a very interesting place to visit with lots of information. And you can see what their North Country Trail looks like there. It is a long trail. And they do constantly make improvements on it. Yeah, we have a lot of little specialty clothing stores or secondhand clothing stores. Not like a thrift store. Sneakers has been here. Lowell Beer Store has been here as long as I can remember, before I even moved to town. And the Sneakers Bar and Grill, I think, has been the same for a long time. Gary's Country Meats has been here way before I came to town. I came to town in 80, 81. This little place here, kind of a hopping place, or obviously not tonight, but Flat River Bar and Grill. I'll even take you down here a little bit to the Lowell area Chamber of Commerce and a Showboat. The Showboat has got a long and expansive history with a lot of the big name singing artists over the years. Loretta Lynn, just all of them big names from the back of the time. There's our Chamber of Commerce office. And there is a stage where every Thursday evening we have live music in the summer. They call the Sizzling Summer Concerts. Showboat is part of the Lowell area Chamber of Commerce deal. Not sure I can explain the relationship between the Chamber of Commerce and the city itself officially, and the relationship with the Showboat anymore. But it is neat. It's a lot of history. I've done some work on it and for it before the current revision. This particular boat was built last year. I'm not sure they've actually acquired all the funding to pay for it yet. Notice the lights are doing the rainbow colors. Oh, you can't see it right now. The way back, you probably be able to see it better. But they're LEDs, and they're programmed to do the rainbow colors now, probably for the month. I always did like the river here. This river provides power for King Milling. They mill grains, and on the other side of the bridge here are the dams. They regulate the flow by adjusting those gates on the dams. When I come back the other side, I'll try to remember to show a little bit of that. It used to be that the mill was run strictly off the river. Yeah, Coming spring of 2022, spring expired yesterday, but they are still working on it. They've actually made more progress, it appears, in the last couple of weeks than they've done all winter long on it. There were a couple other buildings in here that were kind of built on pedestals, but they just got so bad shape that they ended up taking them down. This building here is the Main Street Inn now, and it was renovated by a guy that owned a local plumbing service company here in town. He bought it and renovated it. And if he hadn't done it, it probably would have been torn down too. He put an awful lot of money in this. Wasn't sure he was actually not going to go broke doing it. This is a new place here. It just opened up, probably no more than a month or so ago, maybe 5 weeks. Used to be Spring Grove Variety. It was the five and dime store. Now, most of these buildings and stores I have not been in. I'm not one to go in and just shop around and visit and spend my money in stores, although I just as soon do that in my local town than any place else. The little building there on the back, uh, Backwater Cafe, has been there for years. I don't even recall it being something prior to that, um, but it's really common for breakfast. And then the white brick building back there used to be storage for low light and power, and it may still be low light and power. There's a history behind that too. They buy their power as a consortium or generate power as a consortium, and they are able to give us, I think, still much better rates than buying it from the big utilities. It gets transmitted across power lines, which you have to pay a fee for transmission fee, which you probably see on your electric bill, that they have to pay, but the generation cost, because they are a member of that consortium, they can generate the electricity a little bit better rate, sell a better rate that way. And I believe that consortium requires you to be a municipality, that they only sell to municipalities. I'd like it sometime to actually come down here and visit each storefront and go into each one and have them get a little story. And I would post a video of each one of them, whatever links they want, and give them all 15 minutes, 20 minutes to say what they want. There's our local post office. This here, Larkin's, has been Larkin's Saloon for as long as I could remember, and then just this last couple of months, it was sold, or may have been sold earlier than that, but now it has become the Junction Bar and Grill. And place has changed. It has definitely brought up the visitorship. They've got activity where it had as Larkins, it just kind of died off, and it was just a bar people went into, and there might be 2 or 3 or maybe half a dozen people sitting at the bar. Good evening. All right. Doing a little video of downtown Lowell. Trying to say a little bit about each thing because I'm live worldwide. This was a theater, regular movie theater. And it was owned recently by the same owners as Larkin's. Is this still owned by the people that bought Larkin's then?
No, my wife and I bought it. We own it privately from them.
Okay.
Separately from.
So what are you planning to do with it?
Well, we're using it. We used it from November until June this year for comedy shows and for private gatherings. And, we had a couple crowds in here. Things like that.
Good.
Now we're closed down for the summer because we don't have air conditioning. We're working on the apartments and hopefully going to get air conditioning this summer.
Okay. So you still
We're going to open back up in September.
You still plan on doing like wedding receptions and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah. And we'll put on comedy shows and different. We had a big Elvis impersonator in here, tribute artist.
Okay.
And Liam Doyle was here too. That was a lot of fun. So.
What was your name?
David Reed.
David Reed. Okay. You're from Lowell, or?
Yeah. Well, lived here 20 years now.
Yeah. Okay.
Transplant, as they call it.
Not as quite as old as I am.
Yeah.
I've been here. I moved here in is actually January of '81, I think.
Oh, wow.
When we moved here.
Coming up on 50 years last year.
It's getting
40 years last year.
It's getting long. Yeah, it'd be 40 years last year.
For you. Yeah. Twice as long as we've been here.
Yeah, I was raised in Middleville.
Oh, nice. It really is here.
So. Yeah, it still is.
Yep.
It still is.
I was raised over in Williamston, so a town a lot like Lowell, east of the big city, just like this. Our apartment community. So.
Well, good luck with it.
Well, thank you. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Labor of love, I think. So.
Will make a difference if you get air conditioning into it. If you can afford to air condition the place,
yeah, that's true.
You got to get enough business to pay for that.
Yeah, for sure. So I had a chiller, but I don't know if I could ever get that one. It's still got that old system in there. But we're working on it.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. What's your name?
Clark Johnke.
Johnke?
Yep. And if you're interested, if you look up Aardvark Spark on YouTube, then you should be able to see this video of me walking through downtown. I just explained what I was hoping to do at some point was actually go into each store and talk to the people that own that store, give them 15, 20 minutes to explain what they got, and put it all on a video, so then somebody wanted to see anything about the city of Lowell, downtown business area, they get a little introductory and maybe a little advertisement out of it to spend 15, 20 minutes with me to explain what they're doing. But that might be a lot of project for me to take on, but that's what I still visualize. Well, I'm still young at this, so I get a lot of people that view after it's recorded. As it stands right now at this moment, there's only one person somewhere in the world watching me. So, and now two. But it goes up and down. But yeah, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Have a good night. All right. I just met the new proprietor of the old theater. This building here got some history to it, and it is now our historical museum, I guess. It's something along that. Lowell Area Historic Museum. And talk about documentation. They have documentation of what has gone on in this area in books and stuff that just goes forever. So that's kind of the downtown area. This down here isn't really part of the downtown district, central business district. This place right across the street here, that new Union Brewing Company, that is fairly recent. They've been there for a couple, 3 years, but that is where the old feed and grain mill was, or the silo sales, and they had silos, and they would receive grains and store it and sell. So that's what that used to be on that site. What you see over here where we're going, those silos are all part of King Milling. And I don't know enough about how they store their different grains and what all grains they have there. But it's a large facility. As you'll see as I walk it, it takes up from here all the way down to the river and a couple blocks continuing to the south there as I'm walking south. That's one of the largest facilities we have in a city. If it's not the largest, I have no idea what would be. It doesn't take an enormous amount of employees. They have a lot required when their grain's coming in the fall, and they ship out a lot on truck and a fair amount on rails. Let this guy come in here before I step in front of him. So that would be a nice facility to get a real good tour of. I'm familiar with parts of it. I've been in part of it. I've done service work in parts of it. Um, but it's rather interesting stuff. If it interests a lot of people, probably me more than a lot of other people, but I think a lot of people would be very interested. Another thing we have, see, these are throughout the city, through the downtown area. This is all part of a registered historic district. And each block you go to, you can see these things, and it has descriptions of what different buildings were here. Some of them are the buildings that are here and how they've been used over the years. And they have a little timeline that you can see that if I can get the camera aimed at from year to year, time over period, with a brief description here. And they got these little UPC codes that you can pull up the website and get more information. I think that's a really neat thing that they did. They invested some money in those, and how they hold up as well as they do, that's amazing to me. So I'm a little chattier than I normally am when I'm doing a video. I normally don't want anybody to hear me or see me. Getting more used to that. Getting more used to doing that. Now, I was talking about the antique mall. Basically, this whole building, starting at this point, going all the way down to the end of the block, maybe not the very last part, but I think so, was the antique mall. And it was on at least two of the three floors. And that closed up a number of years ago. And I think that's when most of these little antique malls or little antique stores popped up. This one here is kind of interesting uh, because their hours. Take a look at the sign. Summer of 2022, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday by chance. I believe that during the winter time, they actually go south or all over the country and they look for things that they think are neat and they bring them back here. I'm not sure how they sell them because they're open in April and May with regular hours, which is maybe 2 days a week or something, and maybe 6, maybe 8 hours a day. I'm not sure. And then the rest of the year, it's sort of like that. By chance, maybe you can call us. There might be something there that gives them a phone number. You can contact them if you're interested in going in. So we're still looking at King Milling. And you can see what's part of the newer building there. That sign up there has been there on the top of that structure as long as I can remember. Here back to when I was a kid. This building here is the mill, and that top level I think has been added, but the rest of that has been there for a long time. And somebody interested in it, they could probably find a web page for King Milling Company in Lowell, Michigan. And I am sure that they have put together a really good history and information on their web page. This here, the water is flowing there. It's hard to tell that it's flowing, but that water goes into the bottom of the mill and it turns turbines and shafts that provide mechanical power up into the mill. The mill has been increased in its capacity to where the water, I don't think at any time, can actually provide enough energy. So there is a medium voltage motor, and a medium voltage motor would be something in the neighborhood of 2400 volts or 4800 volts that is in, I think it's in the top level of this front building here, if I remember right where it's at. And that is added to the power of the shaft to operate the milling equipment that's in the tower of the milling operation. Then that water and the water level of the backwater here is controlled by these gates on the dam, of which they adjust. They are adjusted by the milling company. They have many regulations they have to follow. You see there's water going underneath of that gate. That's the way the design of this system is they allow X amount of water to go underneath those gates. And if I believe I recollect correctly, anytime you have a dam on a natural water flow like this, you have to maintain a certain minimum amount of flow, natural flow through those through your dams. So I'm not sure what this place is doing. Looks like they're doing some sort of renovation in there. Tattoo parlor. I'm not sure how to describe this. It looks to me like it's a secondhand clothing store. And what better can I describe? This building here has been transitioned over and over and over. I think the building has structural problems. Actually, this whole building with the last 3 stores in it. But I don't know what they're making out of this now. They're in there changing things around and doing some work again. All right, then here's the second set of gates. And they have one of those gates opened up, some on the bottom, so there's water flow through it. And this here is a display put here um, with some explanation of how water power was used over the years and the different mills that were here, because there used to be another mill on what would be my left over here, as well as there was a water flow that was run through where this parking lot is. I don't remember enough to explain it, but there was another mill here, or it was I believe it was another mill. It may have been other equipment on for manufacturing too that may have been run off from the river. And here, this is Lowell's Veterans Memorial. And I got to talk to the city yet because those lights are not working to light the flags. And I got to see if I can talk them into doing something to take care of that. We have a light sensitivity thing here in the city because not too far out of town is the Veen Observatory, and light pollution affects the ability for them to see stuff out in the skies at night. So I'm sure that they would just assume those lights did not shine straight up in the sky to light the flags. And there are other ways of doing that. If that's the real problem, then they can retrofit the poles or the top of the poles with top lighting. We got the flags on the city hall. Let's see if I can aim up there. Those are lit by lighting that's on the top of the city hall building. So if they're doing that there, it doesn't seem like there'd be a problem using the uplighting for the Veterans Memorial. But I really believe that those flags should be lit at night as good practice, like any other American flag would be, but certainly for the Veterans Memorial. Lowell Granite. There's another business with some extensive history. Established 1873, Lowell Granite, I believe, can say is the most used, most popular, I'm not sure what the proper term would be, company to make grave location monuments in the state. They do a beautiful job. And I currently have one in the process there for my father. So I didn't have to go very far to get the best, shall we say. This building here has some history too. Before it was these multiple stores, it was Superior Furniture. I believe before that, they may have made buggies here. They may, actual car bodies, possibly. I getting my stories mixed up between which stores did what, but I think that this was a car body manufacturer at one point. Superior Furniture closed, I'm going to say maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And they made wood furniture up until then. And that pretty much takes care of the historic district and the central business district as zoned. This place here, Big Boiler Brew Pub and Dining, they have been here for a couple of years anyway, and it's very popular. Very popular. They get busy on the weekends and the later evenings of the weeks. Probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday be their big days, and I do believe they're open on Sundays too. So there you have it, the city of Lowell, Michigan, Central Business District. Quick walk through, and hopefully a few of you are interested. So thank you, and have a good evening.